How... Thank you, Julian. How sweet it is. This is a victory that cannot be denied. It is a victory of historical importance, not just for me, for my family, for my children, but for the independence of the UN system. I want to thank the United Nations, the Office of the High Commissioner on Human Rights, the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, its jurists who made the determination, the Secretariat and staff, and the Human Rights Council. This is a decision under international humanitarian law, binding covenants which the UK, Sweden and the United States, for the most part, have agreed to. The UN last night issued a statement stating that the determination is legally binding.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
There have been comments from Philip Hammond, the Foreign Minister of this country, today, saying this changes nothing. Philip Hammond, as an individual, I think he's a perfectly nice person, but we must understand that those comments are merely rhetoric. There is no argument in this changes nothing. It is not stating that the UK will pull out of the working group in its determination, or the Human Rights Council, or even that it refuses to recognise the result. The fact is, the UK and Sweden accepted to be parties to a 16-month process, 16 months of litigation before the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. I made submissions. The UK responded in the process to those submissions. Sweden responded to those submissions formally as a party to the proceedings. They lost.
Yes.
Yes.
The UK lost.
Yes.
Sweden lost. It lost at the highest level. It then had an opportunity to appeal. The UK did not appeal. Sweden did not appeal. That opportunity was 2 weeks long and just ended today. Today is the day where there can be no appeal. No appeal was filed. Why was no appeal filed? The UK and Sweden have had this judgment for the past 2 weeks. I and the public received it today. They did not file an appeal in that 2-week period. Why? Because they knew they would lose. Because there are no grounds for appeal. Because the law is well established and documented in this comprehensive, binding judgment by the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. Now, this result, which lays out the circumstances and the law and the abuse of law behind my 5.5 years of detention without charge in this country, didn't come about by itself. It came about as a result of those UN mechanisms, the support for them, and as a result of people struggling for them. It came about as a result of the government and people and president of Ecuador protecting me while we had that 16-month struggle. It came about as a result of the efforts of my legal team. It came about as a result of the efforts of the broad community in this country and in Sweden and the United States and in Australia and in India and other countries around the world. So let me read the conclusion from the judgment. The deprivation of liberty of Mr. Assange is arbitrary and in contravention of Articles 9 and 10 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Articles 7, 9, paragraph 1, 9, paragraph 3, 9, paragraph 4, 10 and 14 of the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, both binding treaties to which the UK and Sweden are parties. It falls within Category 3 of the categories applicable to the consideration of the cases submitted to the working group. The working group considers that, taking into account all the circumstances of the case, the adequate remedy would be to ensure the right of free movement of Mr. Assange and accord him an enforceable right to compensation in accordance with Articles 9, paragraph 5 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights.
Yes. Yes. Well done.
Now I don't, in some ways, having been involved in the exposure of corruption and war crimes in government for nearly 20 years, it doesn't come as a shock to see the type of injustice you've been in the business of exposing inflicted on yourself. That's part of my work. I am tough, I am hardened by this process, in fact, and I can take it. However, what right does this government, or the US government, or the Swedish government have to deny my children their father for 5.5 years?
Yes. No right. No right.
Without any charges in any country. That is a fact that I will never forget, and which must be addressed, and which will be addressed as time goes by. My children are completely innocent parties to what has happened. They are not in politics. They are not in politics. They are not in the business of holding government to account. They are in the business of being children. And it is time that they had their father back.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that will happen.
Are you going to stand on 4 years, mate?
Can someone close that person up? That will happen. One way or the other. One way or the other, it will happen. And a lot of people have very long memories about the parties that have committed injustices in this case. And inevitably,